What's up, guys? It's Josh from Cardfight Empire here, and I'm here with one of our top 8 from our Bushy Road Atlanta regionals, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Brian Everson. I got top 8 today playing Kagero, Blademaster.
All right, awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you thought of the event, how it's run, things that happened to you during the event?
Overall, the event was pretty alright. The only gripes that I had, there was like 2 separate occasions in the event where they screwed over my my placement. The first time was day 1, where they marked me in the computer as 4-0, and when I was actually 5-0, and I had to go to the front, and then it's like this big thing where they had to delay the round, and we thought there was going to be a repair, but the guy who I beat in the previous round, and well, 2 rounds prior, he was like, he won. And what they ended up doing was, since the guy actually won the next round, they basically just swapped my place with his place. But if he had lost his second round, then they probably would have had to repair the entire thing. But and then the second time was day 2, and it was top 8. But right before top 8, there was a player who was 7-3, and he shouldn't have made it there, and we didn't know. I had 9th place, but somebody, one of his friends, I guess, brought it up, and then they were like, "This man's 7-3. Wait, what? There's 8 twos that didn't make top 8." So they did like a little investigation, and they ended up repairing, and I got bumped from 9th place to 8th place, and ended up playing in top 8.
Awesome. So do you want to talk about why you decided to play Blademaster today? Like, is your favorite deck? Did you think it would be best going into the event, or like?
So I knew Blademaster was a pretty strong deck. I consider it like tier 1 right now. I don't really consider it the best of the tier 1 decks, but I think it's good enough to perform well. And then it's like Kagero. Kagero is my favorite clan. I've pretty much been playing the game since BTO 1, and I've always played with Kagero. My main man's Overlord, but you know, he's not good right now. hopefully in set 13. But I mean, Cohen, he does what Kagero does. He retires rear guards. The deck can restand. Well, basically everything I would want to do in the game.
All right, awesome. Do you remember like some of your matchups? Maybe like your matchups from day 1 or day 2?
So one of the decks that I was concerned about was the Battle Sister deck, because the deck's pretty good, has a really good early game. They have cards like the freaking, I can't pronounce the name, but you know, the grade 4 that you just can't G-guard. So they have
Ikikishima?
Yeah, that card. So like cards like the Nile Griffin, like my cards that would normally answer them, I can't really use. So, you know, games like that, I have to use like my Lizard Soldier Conroe to make sure I can push for game. And then when I have the chance, or pretty much just, I normally bully, like the 2 Battle Sister players I played, I bullied their rear guards early game because they tried to rush me. And then the first person didn't get the chance to go into whatever the card's called, because he didn't really have any rear guards. So his first turn was he went into Stalin, and I G-guarded him. And then on my first stride, I proceeded to go into Zickenberg, and I killed him from there because he was already at like 4 damage by the time. And the second person, he got to go into Ikikishima, but I had a PG that I had drawn early game, and then I stayed at relative low damage, and then I was able to search another PG with Conroe, so I was able to survive, and I went to Zickenberg on my following. No, not Zickenberg. I went to he checked a bunch of PGs. He didn't have any G guards or anything, so I went into
Novell.
Transcendence Novell, and he couldn't block me. He was at 5 damage at the time. And
Can't heal, can't block.
Couldn't heal, couldn't block.
So it's guaranteed win.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Did you have like, what was your, I guess, most interesting matchup that you think you played against?
I played 2 mirror matches actually. There was a guy who was playing One of them was like one of the matches was okay, but there was like one guy who was playing like a Overlord Blademaster Cohen hybrid, and it was really interesting. I thought I was going to lose the match because he hit all 4 of his heal triggers. I think that's the only game that I actually went into time in on day 1. So I'm guessing like after we went into time that he wanted to end the game because the earlier turns I wasn't really hitting triggers, and I wasn't really committing to the board. So basically, all his heal triggers he used to like block my Vanguard attacks. Like I went into Ziegenberg, he G-guarded my Ziegenberg turns, and the following turn, at one time was called, he goes into his own Ziegenberg, and he commits a board, and I'm like, all right, so he had more advantage than me, but he commits a board and thinking I couldn't guard, but I didn't check any triggers, but I actually drew like the heals and the PG, so I proceed to survive his turn. I go to 5 damage, and then on my following turn I GB8 him, and then he loses all his advantage. And then on the GB8 turn I rip a heal, so that's my first actual heal trigger, so I'll go back down to 4. On his next turn, forget what he stride into, but the stride that he went into wasn't really impactful. He wasn't at GB8 himself yet. So I use the G-guard, and then that gets like power for 10k for each of your opponent's open rear guards, survive his turn, and then try and Nobel him. Couldn't do anything about it. But that was like the funnest game I played.
What would you say was your worst game that you played?
Probably top 8. Well, there was 2 bad games. There was a round 6 on day 1. I played against a Pale Moon player who also made top 8. I think he was undefeated for day 1.
Yeah,
props
so
out to him. Props out to him. I was super shocked to see Pale Moon in the top tables. I even asked the guys like, so, cause at first I thought maybe he just got lucky, and then he was like, so what did you play against? And he was like, I played Battle Sister, 2 Battle Sisters, 2 ZDBs, another Blademaster deck, and I was like, he actually played real decks. I can't even say he scrubbed his way to the top. This guy's actually good, and then he didn't really make any bad plays. Anything that I saw when I played him, he seemed really good. I was pretty confident that I was going to lose that game. I did get like sacked. He hit crits on his like first 2 attacks, but like even if he didn't get that, I was most likely going to lose because like the deck kind of renders half of my G zone useless because of I'm not sure if he played it because he never PG'd me, but there's like a PG that allows you to call rear guards to the field, and then he had on the attack before he defeated me, he was like, I wonder why didn't you Ziegenberg me? I was like, I saw that you hit the heal trigger and you would have just went to the G guard that basically gives you a full board, and it's like, I mean, it would have just made my Ziegenberg turn not worth anyway. So, but I ended up losing that one. That was my only loss day 1, and then day 2. First game I played was a Gold Paladin player, and I was like, free win. The second game was against Aquaforce. I was also like, this is probably going to be a free win. First game, the guy pretty much sacks me. He goes Lambros. I had a G-Guard PG Vanguard. I was like, all right, I'm going to kill one of his columns that he restood, but he goes crit trigger, draw trigger, crit trigger, and I'm like, whoop, rest in peace, guys. Third game, he won, but I actually misplayed. My final stride turn, I should have went into Ziegenberg, but I didn't PG him. I G-guarded him instead. I should have PG'd and discarded another PG, which would have gave me a counter blast. He didn't have enough cards in hand, but tired, long day. And then in top 8, my other bad matchup was top 8 Zodiac Time Beast, local player Matthew Ann. It's real good. He's playing ZTB. Really can't do anything about that. His cards basically make all of my cards that interact with my opponent worthless. Like for instance, the Sheep, he had played like double Sheep first game. I had Belogs in my hand, but Belog really doesn't matter because he gets priority on the Sheep.
Right.
And even if I denial Griffin one of his cards, he had 2 rear guards, so he could stand either or. So I denial Griffin one, he'll stand the other. So
right.
it's
Well,
pretty
you can
much
pretty much get through his 2
yeah,
denial
it's
Griffins.
pretty much almost unwinnable. Deck's super good. I almost think it's the best deck right now in the format.
Fair. Well, do you want to cut right into going into your deck, what you played, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can do that.
All
All
right.
right. I guess I'll go into the main deck first.
Got that tight new chrono mat to remind you that ZTBs are the truth.
Yeah, ZTBs are really, really good. I want to say ZTB and Blade Wings, which I'm surprised I didn't see any of, or in my opinion, those are the best decks. I almost wanted to play Blade Wings, but borrow a friend's deck, but you know, Kagura's my boy, so had to play them, had to represent. So standard grade 3 lineup. Ran the 4 Cohens. He's really, really good. He retires rear guards. His effect, his GB2 potentially gives you free stride unless your opponent has resist units. As long as you bomb your opponent's entire board, you get free stride every turn, basically. Really good. He's also really good because his effect also happens during both end phases. So your opponent's end phase and my end phase. There's a lot of times where I kill my opponent's rear guards. They didn't have anything, or they got rid of their own rear guards with their effects, and then I just free grade 3 to stride with, or to potentially call free. And then the second grade 3 I ran was this guy, Wavering Strike Jargo. This card is, in my opinion, is the best backup grade 3 option for the deck. First he's an excellent rear guard because he's pretty big. He swings for 17 by himself. Normally he swings for 17 because he gets plus 2k for each of your opponent's open rear guards in the back row, and he also has a on-play skill that Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, which retires a rear guard in the same column as him, and that effect is actually not GB locked. So there was a couple of games where I was able to play him on the rear guard and then just pop a card that I didn't want to deal with later on. And then I played 3 Nahalims. I thought about playing Radiant Dragons in this guy's place, but I felt after play testing a little bit with some of my friends that like I have enough retire. I didn't really need it, and sometimes I would ride this and it would keep my opponent from rushing. It came up. I didn't draw it every game, but when it came up, sometimes it helped. In reality, I'm pretty sure if I had ran Radiant Dragon, it wouldn't have really changed anything. But it's good card. Stop for us. MVP grade 2. This guy is tight. So, sorry about that. Actually, move some of this stuff out the way. This is the MVP grade 2. This guy is amazing. He's like one of the cards, in my opinion, that made the deck really, really good. If you have a Blademaster Vanguard, when Blaze he attacks, he has a counterblast skill, what allows you to draw a card. He also gets plus 2k for all your opponent's open rear guard circles. So he swings for 19k by himself without boosts. He's amazing, and his skill's not even once per turn. So if you hit a stand trigger and you have open counterblast, you can literally do it again and draw another card. It's really, really, really good.
Good old boy Mabooty.
Yeah, man, Mabooty. Man,
didn't play against domination, so they couldn't steal.
They couldn't steal it. I didn't run any domination. Like, I didn't see any ZTB till day 2. Just mainly like Battle Sisters. Yeah, this card's really, really good. The next grade 2 I ran, final grade 2 I ran, was I ran 4 of my boy since BT17.
Legion Rares.
Neo Flame. Neo Flame is good. I didn't really use his effect outside too much this tournament, but I think I might have used him like maybe 1 or 2 games the entire event. But he's really, really good. If your opponent, sometimes you'll play opponents like I think one of the Battle Sisters players made a column and I punished him for it. And there was like another player, but I can't remember. But he's really good because like if your opponent tries to like pretty much punk you all early game and rush you, you can play this guy and like your whole column pretty much kill their entire column. So he's really good for that. He's like a deterrent most of the times. A lot of players wouldn't rush me or wouldn't really commit to the board like that because they were afraid of this card, I believe. But yeah, his card's pretty good. On to the grade ones. I ran 4 unflipped PGs. Sometimes this deck has a bunch of ways to unflip damage, but it's really counterblast heavy, and it starts from counterblast sometimes. It helps in the long run. I've seen some people, like one of the guys in the mirror match that I ran, he ran the whatever Dumbajed or whatever it is, the one that gets plus 15k if it's just copying it. That card's really good though, I think, in my opinion, but like the counterblast is just you just need it.
Need protect
yeah, you just need protect. You need to unflip. Second grade one, the other source of counterblast. This card is really, really good. Nadil. I can see why this card is $3. Not only does this card unflips you with damage, but if you don't have rear guards, you can even double this card as an attacker because it gets plus 4k, making it 11k. Also, with Nahalim, with Nahalim, it swings for 21 because 10 and 11. This card's really, really good. There were a lot of times where, like I played at one guy that stayed on grade 1, and I Sabreezed him, and before I Sabreezed, I played the card down, and he was like, I was like, Sabreeze, and he was like, wait, these weren't on the field during your stride. I was like, Sabreeze is an axe skill, so I can actually. It was at 3 damage, so was able to do this unflip. So basically Sabreezed him for 1 counterblast.
Yeah, I had a player one time play 2 Nadels on the field against me, and then used Gatling Claw Dragon. I didn't even know that card wasn't G-Break in the unflip.
Yep.
So that's pretty ridiculous.
This card is really, really good. And Blaze isn't GB either, so really, really good. This card, turn around, Balog. This card's just really good. A lot of people didn't see this card coming. He just snipes cards. Not the main reason I run him. Yes, sniping the cards are good because you can break people's combos with this card. Another reason why this card is good is because so you have a lot of skills that you use on your turn to retire rear guards, but sometimes you can't retire everything. This allows you to retire additional rear guards on your opponent's turn. So when it comes to your turn, they might have, okay, now I can retire your whole board because I killed 1 or 2 of your rear guards on your turn. So it just makes it easier for you to get Cohen's GB2 off, and it's just really good. The last great one I run is a single copy of Energy Flame. I used him a few times. He's like, if I have to like overextend with my counterblast cost, he can get me out of a bind and let me use my skills. And he works on my opponent's turn. So if he's on the field and my opponent I G-guard, I can actually replenish my counterblast on my opponent's turn before it even gets to me. So overall, pretty good card. Wouldn't really run more than one though. I tried it at 2. It just overall it's a neg, and then I don't really want to neg any more than I have to. Goes to crits. I ran 5 crits. Ran this one. I have a bunch of effects in my deck that require soul. It replenishes soul. And it's just, Strider crit. They're just good. Crits with effects. Goes to soul, draw a card. And then I ran 1 additional crit. I wanted to run 5 crits. I was running 4, and I was like, I think I need to run more than that. A card that I was originally running at 4 is the next trigger. This card, I was originally running this at 4, but decided to run it to drop it to 3 for an additional crit, because for the simple fact that I see this card a lot, and the fact that I can recycle this card, I see the need to not run it because I thin through my deck pretty fast enough, especially with first stride Ziegenberg. I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, this card is really good. Recycles itself. By letting you draw a card when it goes back to the deck. The effect that I like the most though is the fact that I can choose any unit and give it plus 5k. That makes that sometimes I'll have like a random 9k that I'll just turn into a number that makes my opponent have to drop 5. Or I'll make a number like I'll make the Jargo that's 17, which is a 10 block, I'll make it 22. Or what's really spicy is when I know my opponent, if I stride into Novell and I use this guy's effect and pump Novell up. I was one game where I played 2 of these guys and I had the 10k, the Nadell in the back. So I popped the card on stride, played 2 of this card, and it's like, yeah.
47.
GG. Yeah, really good cards. In my opinion, the best trigger after this card. The next trigger is Gatling Claw. There was a few games where like I opened this in my main hand and just straight capped it because I really wanted my opponent's starter to die. This card it stops combos. This is just overall good card. It's really good. Sniping Gray Zeros is great. And the last card is this. I run the Vanguard Dragon. Why not run the crit? I used his Soul Blast to unflip a damage quite a bit. Overall good card. And then last but definitely not least, my boy since BT01, Lizard Soldier Conroe. Best starter in Kagero, wouldn't run anything else. The fact that you can search for any grade 1 or less makes this card just amazing. You can search, if you really, really want to kill the starter, you can search for 0. If you need Stride Fodder, you can search for Stride Fodder. You need a PG, you got it. You want to, you know your opponent's going to go for a combo, you need a G-Guard, you got it. Search for a heal. Just overall good.
You had Stride Fodders too, right? That you ran.
Oh yeah.
As well as like the lava flows.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I should have did these when I was going over my grade 1s, but yeah, my last card is I ran 3 Stride Fodders. Originally was running 2, but I was finding like certain matchups that my opponent would play resist units and I couldn't get the free stride. So having the extra Stride Fodder for those decks that play resist units helps, because you got to stride, and if you can't get free stride, it makes it hard, and striding is how you win the game. But that's it for the main deck. Going into my extra deck, Ziegenberg, standard, got to run 4. It's the best stride in Kagero, in my opinion. He basically gives you free stride. A lot of my games I won with him because I strode into him on my first stride. A lot of games I would choose to go first, and my opponent would get the first stride. And then I would basically G-guard them, retire their rear guard, what have you. And then on my first stride, I would go into this guy, and then I would probably pop a card with my on-stride skill, and then I would use his effect to Soul Blast 1 and flip a copy. And since I G-guarded, I'm at GB3 and I can restand on first stride. And like if I do that and then have like the grade 3 or the Mabuti that draws a card, is just really, really strong. First turn restand is just really great, and then you just don't lose anything. After that, I ran 1 Mustafa. I opted not to run Vortex. In my previous playtest, I ran Vortex, but after playing a bunch of games, Vortex never hits. The only time Vortex is actually ever beneficial is if your opponent just don't have rear guards, and you just get the free GB2. Other than that, you just never use this. You never resolve this effect. They're always blocking. But this guy, and since they always block it, you never get to use this effect, and you end up only getting your counterblast 1 effect off your Titan. And like even if my opponent only has 1 rear guard, I can stride into this, not use my own stride skill, and just use his skill to flip a copy of himself. There's been times where my opponent had only 1 rear guard, and I go into this, play like Nadell because I didn't have it on the board because I drew it or something like that during my drive check. and then I just play Nadell, use his skill, basically making it free, pop their rear guard, and get the GB2 and proceed from there. One off. Then I run a one off GB8. It's really good. It won me one game where my opponent had like my opponent, I was playing against a Zodiac Time Beast deck, and he played like the resist unit, and he refused to use his effect. He just had it on the field just so I can free stride. And I was going to this, and I bombed his entire board. I killed like 4 rear guards, and was able to get my GB2 off. And I pretty much put him in a bad situation. He had like 1 card going into his next turn, and he had to like, he didn't even have Stride Fighter. He had to go into the Meta Pulsar Dragon thing, Ulcer Dragon, and I basically blocked his turn and then proceeded to go into Ziegenberg and win the game. Next is Root Flare. I used him like twice. Once was against a Battle Sister player who had like resist unit, and then he had like another card. Popped his column, and I used it against the Aqua Force player in the game that I won against him and right before top 8. Really good. Mainly only run him because I originally was running Titan, but I found myself, I never use him. I never go into him. And the times I would want to go into him, my opponent usually had like resist units, and Titan can't really get rid of him. But this card can hit them, so ran 2 of this. And then I ran Spicy Tech. He won me like 4 games. Nouvelle. A lot of people just did not see this card coming. He's really, really good. Even like when you just don't have a booster, he's really good. Because it's like, I only go into him when my opponent's at 5 damage. And it's like, we're like, this is like the end of the line. I either win now or I die. So we're both at 5 damage. I go into him. Every time I went into him, I cleared the game out. Yeah, it's really good. I normally thought this card was bad because I used to play it in Overlord and it didn't really do anything. But in the Blaze deck, I feel because you have so many cards that can boost any unit, and then you have the 11k booster, that it can actually be really strong. Because a lot of times I would go like double stand trigger, both effects to Novell, or one game I had like stand trigger, 11k booster. I popped the card on my opponent's side of the field, and then it's just ridiculous. And then one more stride, Sabriz. I think I used him like twice. I also thought about cutting him, but I was like, people will grave stuck you. You might as well. You're better off playing it than not playing it. And then G Guardians. Only 2 Denial Griffins. Originally I ran 3, but from playtesting, I only ever used 2 of it. I have literally never gone into a match where I've used all 3 of my Denial Griffins. And during my playtesting, when I did run 3 Denial Griffins, I tend to always flip one for this card. It's a fact. Speaking of this card is really, really good. It won me some games. I had some players who would tap their combo piece, and I would be able to kill their combo piece. There was one guy who was playing Zodiac Time Beast before top 8. He had like the grade 1, I forgot the name, the dragon that goes to soul. Yeah, Transit Dragon. The card that goes to the soul. I play this, pop the Transit Dragon, deny them the draw. It's really good. When this card was actually first revealed, I actually was like, this card sucks. But after playing it, playtesting it a lot, this card is not that bad. It's actually really, really good. And then the last 2 cards I played were Screw. Basically played Screw because it's another card other than this card, Divine Dragon Knight. These are basically played to block my opponent's Vanguard attacks when I don't have PGs. This card is if my opponent doesn't have a board because I normally clear it or they're too scared to commit to the board. I can counterblast 1. It gets 10k for each of the over rear guard circles. Normally when you play this card, it's a no pass, guaranteed. And then I decided to play Screw instead of another Denial Griffin for the simple fact that there were times when I didn't have counterblast or I didn't want to commit to a counterblast because I needed my counterblast for the following turn. So I would go into Screw and ditch a card. It allowed me to guard the Vanguard without committing a counterblast. Or if I already had to use this card, it's another card that can block potentially for a huge number that can allow me to survive Vanguard attacks or Vanguards who have like guard restrictions, stuff like that. So that's why I decided to run this card. And that's pretty much it for my deck list.
All right, cool. It's definitely a very interesting list. I know you talked about like Novella bit. That was definitely an interesting tech that I'm sure a lot of people didn't see coming. I wouldn't have seen it coming if I played against it. Did you have any shoutouts that you wanted to give?
Yes. First, shout out to my boy Overlord. I know he coming back at set 13. Shout outs to my friend John Harmon. I played him with. He didn't come today, but I played him with both blasters, and I played against him with the Blade Wing deck that I didn't really see today. I don't know why that deck's so good, but it kind of helped a little bit because I did play against a Charlotte Heart player, and they play a bunch of the same cards. It just got me used to like cards like Blademaster and stuff and what to expect. And then the blaster deck, which I also didn't see. I saw a lot in the top, but I didn't run into any. Shout outs to God for letting me get here. Shout outs to my parents. And shout outs for Super Games for letting me take the day off. And that's really it. Oh, shout outs to Cardfight Empire for doing the deck profile.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, that has been Mr. Brian Everson's deck profile on his Kagro deck for top 8, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right, peace.